The Traveler has returned to the Last City, but how and why? Destiny 2's final update is packed with story information, and today we're going to discuss what we know so far on the alien god's return to Earth. The art for Monument of Triumph shows many characters we've had interactions with over the years. The Vanguard, Mara, Eris, even Archie and Sweeperbot are here. It looks to be a festive moment, a celebration of all of our triumphs. But in the sky, we have the focal point of the Destiny franchise once more, the Traveler in all of its glory. Now, the interesting thing is the Traveler has been absent from the city's skies for about 3 years now, since the Lightfall expansion. It departed the surface to confront the Witness firsthand and also avert the Warsat attack from Aramis. The opening scene of Lightfall had it fight the Witness, and then it remained dormant in orbit as the portal to the final shape in Pale Heart was carved inside its outer casing. So we see the Traveler is returning to the city. As I was making this video, Bungie gave us a launch trailer which answers some broad questions. The Traveler is back, but the question now is why? One of the most powerful things in this universe in terms of this paracausal power has returned to the city for some reason.
Thank you, Guardian. Because of you, what was unraveling is suddenly stabilizing. Earth may yet heal, and that's something worth celebrating. May this time be a moment of reflection, remembering what came before, reassessing our present, and readying ourselves for the future. The Traveler has nestled above the Last City once again.
There is no doubt that the Traveler is the life of this game. I was watching Asdacross's video a couple of days ago when he was starting a new character, and the opening cutscene where you first fly to the city was very bland. Your ship flies through the clouds, it shows the helm all broken down and covered in tarps, and that's the cutscene.
We're here. The Last City. Welcome home.
Why does the Last City look like shit though? I mean, I'm just from this like fly-in point, kind of look like dog shit, huh?
That compared to Destiny 1 when you had the mysterious alien sphere as the focal point, mysteries and questions around every corner. But having the Traveler back will make things more interesting, and certainly bring a different nostalgic feeling back to the social space. Not sure about you, but over the past several months, especially when there was low population numbers, you would load into the tower, there was no one there, and then you just looked over this dusty city. There was no mysterious and wonder that the Traveler once gave. The Traveler is called the Traveler for a reason. As far as we know, it began on the homeworld of the Witness, or crashed there. It traveled through the universe, visiting species like the Lubrarians, the Ammonites, Harmony, the Elixni, and then eventually humanity. It got its name from the Ares 1 astronauts, the opening cutscene ones from Mars, who were playing basketball when one of them traveled, and they thought, hey, this is a good name for this alien sphere out in the system. When it comes to humanity though, the Traveler decided to make a last stand instead of run. Like the Witness even said in Lightfall, it had nowhere else to run. The Traveler can uplift others, but humanity was truly special, and the dreams of Alpha Lupi and Visions show us that. But what's interesting this time around is the state the Traveler is in. It's been in Earth's orbit bleeding light and darkness since the final shape, yet somehow it's returned. To me, the story reasons for the Traveler returning would have to involve the Nine to some extent, given that's where we left off, in the middle of a story involving them. I think it's safe to assume that these new distortions could be a starting point for that. The definition of distortion is the act of twisting or altering something out of its true, natural, or original state, the act of distorting. The altering of the locations with these events may be caused by the Nine and the effects of Three's death, which has been changing Earth a ton and causing diseases. This is likely where it will lead. The Traveler has protected Earth from a lot. In a time where we had no clue how to stop the end of the universe because of Three's death, maybe the Traveler is the only way to fend off this infection.
We're at the mercy of microphenomena happening across the world. Matter transmutating, air turning to toxin. We're running containment. I suspect it'll continue until the emissary and Eris Morn can tell us what bind the Nine truly means.
The Nine were involved with trying to find physical bodies, break into our physical reality. Could they be at the helm of some of these distortion changes? Maybe they did something which caused them to appear on these worlds. Or maybe this is an entirely new cliffhanger of sorts, giving Bungie a place to leave the story with more questions in case they ever want to pick it back up if they're able to. There's also the option that this was for the Shattered Cycle and a refresh of patrol destinations, but got moved to this update instead, so the story could have been changed to whatever they want. But I have seen some great theories by the community, like this post by Christophesis, who I think we actually read a post of in another video, but had similar ideas. And the comments on this post too brought up some great points, so I wanted to share these community opinions with you to see what you think, and get your own comments down below. And check out the link to the post in the description. The post title was "The distortions are the consequence of Three's death that will remain a problem for the foreseeable future." Part of the post says it is highly unlikely that we will resolve the problem with the Nine by the end of this update. So the foreseeable future of Destiny is that the world will remain in a perpetual state of peril. The next chapter of this franchise would begin with a crisis comparable or worse to the Red War, where the threat we face is more of a force of nature than an antagonistic individual. So the posts in the comments are pretty much theories like we're doing in this video. Like Squeaky Tiefling says, "There's an easy hand-wave solution that others have proposed. Put the Traveler back in the city skybox. Have a line of dialogue saying the Traveler has sensed the chaos emerging from Three's death, and has returned to the Earth to devote what remains of its power to holding back the tide of anomalies. The Traveler has transformed worlds before. No reason it can't apply that kind of power to undoing the damage here. The problem isn't fixed yet, but it's stable. And Guardians are able to use this chance to investigate the distortions to learn more about how we can bind the Nine in the future. Just something to assure the player base the danger is less urgent now, and that it can be fixed someday down the line. You leave the thread open, just dial back the urgency. Plus having the big ball in the sky again would be a massive nostalgia hit for everybody, and I agree with everything said there." Samus says, "Before we got the news, I put the Traveler aside as a solution to Three's death, thinking, 1, the story of Light and Dark is over, so they likely wouldn't just use it to hand-wave the consequences of Three's death through paracausality. And 2, it likely still has its attention turned inward, healing the damage the Witness inflicted. But now I think this kind of thing would be a good way to, as you say, stabilize the situation. Three's death and its fallout could be something too big for the Traveler to just fix straight, weakened and damaged as it is. But it could have enough strength to hold things where they'll end up, so we can hopefully fix them another day. Also would show that the Traveler is still looking after us, even while it is hurt and healing." Another comment said, also gives more reason as to why 6 wanted to use Nightfall on the Traveler. And the response, this now puts the Traveler in an even more precarious situation than the Red War. It now has to address 2 crises at once and is being stretched thin between healing itself and saving the solar system and everyone in it. The poor friendly orb can never catch a break. We know that in Renegade, 6 and Dredge and Bale were trying to use Nightfall Station on the Guardians as a test, and eventually the Last City and Traveler, to end the reign of the Immortals and also generate enough power to maybe open up a door, allow 6 to evolve into something new. It would be interesting if the Traveler was somehow an obstacle in that path for 6, as described in this post. We thought it was just sitting there the whole time, but maybe it did have a part to play. We know the 9 have been studying and interested in the Traveler for years now. Mechax also says, with the red coloring of the distortions, I'm thinking it could be 6's doing since Eclipse is also red, and there were red visuals when Eris tried using Lodi to speak with it. With 6 being the alchemist, which we've heard from lore, and parts of Earth being transmutated, I think the 9 will or we're going to have different flavors of dark matter. With 3's dark matter being the cyan green corrosive dark matter we see in Edge of Fate from the train portals, all the way to the fungus on the Exiles, while 6's is the red smoky eclipse energy we see in Renegades and Distortions. Of course, I could be wrong. Now personally, I'm not sure about that last paragraph, but Renegades showed us that 6, this member of the 9, was clearly going to be a big focal point of the story moving forward. Dredge and Bale was still alive. So whatever was happening in Old Chicago might have been tied to them too.
Maybe. Or maybe there's something to old stories. The Sage of Daini, the King of Chicago, Tallin's Grove. There's more potential in these texts than in another revision of your staffing plan.
But then you have the questions like we talked about in a previous video. If it's just the aftershock of 3's death, then these distortions should only appear on Earth, but we see them on the moon, which yeah, it's close to Earth, and then we see them in Savathun's throne world, which is a completely different topic. So whatever is causing these distortions, it's breaking through reality in multiple places across the universe, it seems. Maybe we get more answers in dialogue for the update, but the trailer leaves things pretty vague for now. The Traveler is back. Things are somehow stable for now. Just like these community members predicted, the Traveler is truly back. It is interesting to think this is how the tower will look in Destiny 2 for eternity, unless updates somehow happen down the line, which is unlikely. Is the portal to the Pale Heart truly closed, which wouldn't make sense for gameplay, or does it just appear healed from the tower, yet you still have that node for the Pale Heart, kind of like a moment in time there in the director? Whatever the story reason turns out to be, it would be nice to see the Traveler back in the social space. But if you'd like to see some more Destiny news, lore, and mysteries just like this video, please be sure to subscribe to the channel. I thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next video.